Welcome to Just the Two of Us Homestead. We are Colleen and Frank, and we live in the perfect size homestead just for us in southwestern Quebec. Gardening, growing food, and preserving is one of our passions. And our barn animals, we love them so much, they're just like pets. And we're so fortunate to be able to live our lives as we do. Each and every day is a blessing. Friends, we are going to do some harvesting on this beautiful evening, and we are going to start with the beans. You see, I have several different containers there, and that's because I like to sort them as I pick them because I weigh each different kind to see what I yield for each variety. And I'm starting in the Canterre beans, which are the beans I use for fresh eating, and I got a little harvest here, but we use them for fresh eating, so I prefer smaller harvests. Now I'm on to Strike, which is a very good bean, and they're great for canning. This is my second big picking, and since then I've picked twice more, and I just can't keep up with them. They are just giving and giving. I'll probably get two more good pickings out of them with the provider that you'll see in a second. And I'm just canning away to my heart's content. These are just awesome beans. The more you pick, the more you get, and they just get bigger and bigger each time. I just work my way down the row. I enjoy being out in the garden more in the evening time to do my picking. I can't really get out in the morning. My body doesn't get going too early in the morning, so evening works great for me. It's nice and quiet, it's peaceful, so I just sit there to my heart's content, as I say quite often, on my little stool and just enjoy myself. I'm in no hurry. I soak in every moment of just sitting there in all my glory. Now we're at the back of the garden with the purple pole beans, and they are doing fantastic. And they're so easy to pick. I've only ever once tried pole beans and they didn't go very well. That was a long time ago. And I have to say, it is a pleasure not to have to bend over or anything. These are so easy to pick, and they grow like in clumps, so it makes it really easy. And again, these guys, the more you pick, the more they come and they get bigger and bigger. And they're so easy to spot, obviously, because of the color. So here's my bean collection. I keep them all separate, bring them in the house and weigh them, and the only ones I keep separate at that point are the Canterre. All the rest get ready for canning. To you guys in the garden tour that I had planted here on the left these beans from this package from Livingston, and on the right I used my own seed, and my own seed germinated, and not one on the left from this package. I've since gone back and planted with my own seed, and within 5 days they all germinated. I missed one square there, but I went back and filled those in as well. And now those giving and giving mini cucumbers. My gosh, if you guys want a cucumber that you can't keep up with and want to eat morning, noon, and night, get yourself some mini me cucumbers. These guys are just crazy. This is a daily occurrence. It's gotten to the point. I mean, we're giving them away. I'm pickling with them, and now the chickens and ducks are even getting them on a daily basis because this is a daily picking. this would be an average. Sometimes there's more in the basket, sometimes there's a few more, but that's usually about it. So now I'm at the burpless variety. I think it's called Garden Sweet. I always try and give you a far away look first so you can get an idea where I am in the garden. And there's a few in here that I'm picking. I think there was just a couple, but these plants are doing great as well. I almost hope now when I walk up to a cucumber plant that there aren't any because my wish certainly came true this year. So I think I got 4 or 5 off of that plant. Now I'm at the market more cucumbers at the back, and I'm praying there was none ready, and there wasn't. There's a few close, but none of them were ready, thank goodness. So we still had a few cabbages to harvest in the garden. I haven't got them all yet, but I just cut a few today. This one is a Copenhagen. It's an okay size. It's nothing great, but it's a cabbage. So once I peel off all the leaves, the extra leaves there, it's close to the fence line, and I have all my little chicken friends lined up ready to enjoy them. They know the sound of the ripping leaves. They hear it from far away, and they just get ready for me to throw all the leaves their way. And this one too was a very small Copenhagen. This one is an early Jersey, and it was a really good size. Even though I have to peel away some of the exterior leaves, it was a very dense cabbage, and it's my first year growing it, and I really like this cabbage. The leaves are beautiful, and it has a really good flavor, so I will grow this one again. It's an early Jersey. So now I'm closer even to the fence line. I can just throw them right over. And then while I'm there, I can just pull the stump right out of the garden. And yay, we're finally getting some peppers. These are Cubanelle, and these are from the not topped Cubanelle plants that I put in the garden. These ones aren't quite big enough, but I don't like having any, no matter what it is, I don't like have anything close to the ground. So I'm picking them a bit young, but I don't like how they're like touching the ground. So I'm picking them anyway. They're still a good size, but I just don't like when fruit is touching, whether it's dirt or the landscape fabric. And one more dragon egg. On the other side of those burpless cucumbers, they're also growing on the exterior of the fence. And I'm surprised Uno plays around there quite a bit, but the other chickens haven't caught on yet. I'm just trying to tie up some of the vines there. And I did find one cucumber. I've already harvested a few on that side, but I really don't need them. So if the chickens do find them, they're welcome to have them. I was just more concerned with the vines growing all over the place. But there's only 3 plants there, and they're they're just so healthy. I don't get it because last year we had 3 cucumbers the whole year. So it just shows you no matter what you do, I did nothing different last year from this year. So from one year to the next, you just never know what's going to happen. And I also picked some celery that I forgot to film, and that was the harvest from all that picking. This is why I love to come out in the evening all by myself and enjoy this beauty and peace and quiet. Here is all my beautiful bounty from that evening's picking. It's the next day, and I just want to quickly say I hope I'm not offending anybody, but I am in my nightgown, and it was just one of those days after a busy day. I wanted to show you my real life that sometimes the next day I just have a pajama day. And usually I used to be a pajama girl, and now I'm into nightgowns. And sometimes I feel like my Nana wearing a house dress, but this is how I am now, and I'm comfortable. So we're on to canning, and we were chopping up all the beans, and we're trying to get them squished into the jars the best we can because I'm raw packing and they are going to cook in the canner. So I'm trying to squish them in there the very best I can. And I will link my video on canning green beans in the description for a more thorough covering of how I do it. I'm adding half a teaspoon of salt to each jar. Most people add a full teaspoon, but I'm just adding half a teaspoon. And the magic that I'm putting in it is 100 milligrams of zinc, even though I'm not showing you the bottle very properly there, which keeps the beans very, very green. And if you watch that video, it goes into further detail as to how that works. So because I'm just raw canning them, I'm just filling them up with tap water. I have very good, safe drinking tap water. So I just fill them up to 1 inch of headspace. And then I'm going to debubble them, which isn't an easy task when you squish your beans in there so much. And I used to have really good chopsticks to do on things like this, and I can't find them, so I have to go and buy some more because using my little measuring thing here is really difficult, and I try not to damage the beans because you really have to debubble these guys. So I debubble as best I can, then I check my headspace if I have to adjust the water. Now I put 7 jars into the canner, and you'll see at the end what happens. So there we go. They're all in. While the canner was going, I decided to make my delicious blueberry cake, which I will leave a link for that too in the description. So it just takes butter, sugar, and you just cream those together. It's the most delicious cake in the whole world. Please go watch that video. A couple of eggs. I'm doubling the recipe, but oh my gosh. A touch of vanilla. This time I'm adding just a little bit of lemon rind, like a quarter of the lemon only am I taking the rind off of. And I have no words. I dare you to make this recipe and not love it. So I'm mixing my dry ingredients and alternating with the milk. Just mixing it all together, and I'm making a mess apparently, which is very common for me. The batter is delicious too, but I know you're not supposed to eat it, but don't tell anybody. I love the batter. So I always put flour on my blueberries that are going into the cake. It stops them from all floating to the bottom. So you just sprinkle a bit of flour. It could be any fruit, but on these blueberries, I'm putting some flour so they don't all sink to the bottom of the cake pan. Just give them a light coat, and then you gently fold them in. You don't want to really stir it because then you'll end up with a purple batter, which will still taste fine. It just won't look as nice. And I'm using an 8x8 pan I'm spraying. You can use a 9x9. When you use an 8x8, you do have to cook it a little bit longer because the center of the cake takes quite a while to cook. Sometimes I have to put a sheet of aluminum foil over the top because the top gets like more brown before the cake is ready. So you can use either 8x8 or 9x9. And this is what happened in my canning. I lost a jar. I heard it pop in the canner. I knew something happened. It just cracked. And for me, I take a risk because I use a lot of vintage jars. So it's only happened to me 3 times. So I guess I'm kind of lucky. So here are the 6 beautiful jars of green beans. And see how green they are from using the zinc tablet? I just love them. They're going right on the pantry shelf. Look at that. Yum, yum. I'm mad I didn't take a side view of it for you to see all the blueberries on the side. I don't know why I did that, but we polished this off in 2 days. Breakfast, lunch, and supper. And just to show you Mr. and Mrs. Crackers being quiet for a change, they literally just sit there and fall asleep. Anyway, thank you so much for spending time with me today, friends. And until we're together again, take care.